Hi, James.
And hi there, Jules. Well, congratulations on Guilty Party. I've seen the first three episodes now and completely hooked.
Good.
And now you just graduated Juilliard last year. So tell me a bit about the what the experience was like of landing this role, and why it was something you wanted to be involved in.
So I got this role. It was during the pandemic. I had gone in for it pre-pandemic and then got the news when I was in quarantine in a hotel in Atlanta. And because my mom lives in Atlanta. And it was the best news one could get during the pandemic because it was just a lot of gloom and doom. And I was in class still. I was like, that was the beginning of Zoom and doing class on Zoom. And my partner and we were in Atlanta, then I went to see my dad in Tulsa, and then I was in New Mexico with her family, and we were just staying in Airbnbs, just waiting for our time to go shoot. And it was great. It was like the best gift that one could get out of school for sure.
And your character, Tony, in the first few episodes, it's a very intriguing character. I'm sure we're going to find out a lot more about her as the series kind of progresses. But give us a little bit of an insight into where we find her in her life when we first meet her in the series.
When you meet Tony, she's sending out notices to different journalists to help her tell her story. Because she's known as the dick cutter, she's locked up for killing her husband and wants people to hear her story, her side of things. And so I meet with Beth Burgess, and it doesn't go very well. And I'm trying to figure out whether or not this lady is actually going to help me and get me to where I need to go. And it's not pretty for us trying to connect and for her to help me on my mission. And that's kind of where Tony is, and she's trying to strategize and figure out how she can get out of prison so she can be with her daughter, so she can live the life that she wants to live, because she's first generation. She's not close with her mother, and she is kind of a loner and is always trying to look for the next best thing to help further her life. And so you kind of get introduced to that character in the first three episodes of someone who is very determined to survive, and not just survive in prison, but with her daughter and outside of that environment.
Yeah, and it's a really engaging dynamic between your character and Beth, played by Kate Beckinsale, who comes into the prison to see her. And it really keeps you on your toes. You're not quite sure where it's going to go. And what was it like creating that on-screen relationship with her and getting to work with her? I saw on an Instagram post, you put, thank you for holding my tiny little hands while I cried, with my baby hands or something like that. So it sounds like she was pretty supportive.
She was incredibly supportive. When I first met her, her first piece of advice to me was to mind my energy while we're on set, to really take care of myself, because shooting can be very intense, and the subject matter is intense. My character being in prison and all that she goes through. And there was a moment where we shot, I forget which episode it was. It was episode 7 or 8, and I was just having such a hard time with all the isolation and the COVID and being lonely and shooting a scene that was incredibly intense, which you'll see later in the season. And I just couldn't stop crying. We were shooting, and I just had the cameras on me, crew was ready, and I was just emotionally not there. And she was like, take the time that you need, like the 10, 15 minutes, the day, whatever it is that you need, do it. And she's incredible. Anything that you think about Kate Beckinsale, just let it be known that she's a fantastic, phenomenal person, and call her a friend, a confidant. She's absolutely lovely. I love her so much.
Well, it's good to hear. Actually, I'm 100% gay, but she has always been a screen crush. All those underworld movies, I've
Listen,
been to see
me
everything that
too. She's been a crush for me too, but I don't tell her that. But she's lovely, absolutely lovely.
yeah. And talking about yeah, your character being incarcerated, and she's got a very heavy sentence, and she's a new mother. What was it like, sort of putting yourself into the mindset of someone in that situation?
Well, I've never been in that sort of situation, but I am a black queer woman who's always looking out to see if something's coming. I'm a survivor. I'm I know what I can relate to what that could be. I'll never say that I know that situation, because I don't. And so with that, I channeled that heavy, where I was like, where is my next move? Are you gonna help me? You're not gonna help me. Well then bye. Beth Burgess, bye. I don't care if you look like Kate Beck, bye. And so I had to really just, it was interesting because I was in isolation shooting. So I felt like I was getting to know, yes, Tony, but myself more. Cause I was like, this is, I'm shooting this TV show, but this isn't even the half of what folks get when they're in prison. But I'm here alone with my books and shooting, and I can only imagine what it is that she truly would be going through if she was, in that situation in real life. So it was humbling and also very easy. It was easy to kind of connect with her for sure.
And I mean, particularly once people get to see this show and more offers of work start coming in, I just wondered, as a queer woman, how actively you might be looking for queer roles to play or LGBTQ plus related work.
All the time. All the time. I think just like being a Black person is not a monolith, being a queer woman, there's a lot of different characters that I love to play. One of my dream that I have is doing Audre Lorde. I'm very open and I want to live openly, and as I am in this business and I gather fans, I want to connect to the queer Black girl or queer Black person in the country, and in middle America. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it's like, it's so important for me for that representation to be on TV and film. And so that's half the reason I got into this business, is to see more people that are like me, that are open and out and proud. I'm incredibly proud of who I am. And I just can't wait. I cannot wait for people to see this show.
And was there anyone that you looked up to in the entertainment industry and kind of could identify with as you were training, or once you decided that that was what you wanted to do, was to act?
I mean, Viola Davis's journey. I mean, I did everything that she did, not everything, but I went to Juilliard. And there's also another woman who I'm a huge fan of, who grew up in Atlanta and went to Juilliard as well and is doing well for herself. Her name is Chiquina Calacango. I think she's absolutely phenomenal. Danielle Brooks. Just the Black women that were before me that went to Juilliard, they not only have been so generous with their advice and their time, they've just shown me love. And I give that love right back to folks who are at school as well.
So I've got one final question for you, and it's for your favorite piece of LGBTQ plus culture, whether that be a TV series, a book, a musical, a play, a movie, or you could pick a person who identifies as LGBTQ plus, someone or something that's had an impact on you and resonated with you over the years, and why.
Well, it's funny because my partner and I were watching The L Word last night, and I was like, that was my gay Bible. I watch that all the time. Old seasons, the new season. One of my homies, Rosanny, she's on the show. And I just love that show so much. It had, there's aspects of with trans characters that I always have to question. But all in all, being a queer woman, I watch that show all the time.
Yeah, and I guess the original was made some time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
it was. Yeah.
Things have progressed since in storytelling when it comes to
change,
trans.
but again, late at night, turning on Showtime just so I can oh my God, that's how they live in West Hollywood and this way. That was my show.
Well, Jules Latimer, thanks very much. Delightful to chat to you, and hopefully we'll get to speak again.